What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I'm feeling like 100 grand.
You are listening to Inspired Insider with your host, Dr. Jeremy Wise.
Dr. Jeremy Weiss here, founder of InspiredInsider.com, where I talk with inspirational entrepreneurs and leaders. Today is no different. I have Joshua B. Lee. You can check him out at StandOutAuthority.com. And Joshua, before I introduce you, I always like to point out other episodes of the podcast people should check out. You know, I've known Joshua a little bit over the years, but Ed O'Keefe reintroduced us. So thank you, Ed. Ed's been one of the only people, Josh, on my podcast who's been on more than once. Anyone who has 7 kids, multiple businesses, and built seven-figure businesses in different niches, like they should be on, have carte blanche on coming on. So
Ed's even had time for 2 podcasts.
I have no idea how he has time for anything. But amazing guy. Those episodes are really, he wrote the book Time Collapsing, which is one of my favorites. And so check out that episode. Another one is, there's so many good ones. Jason Swank was a good one. He built up an agency to 8 figures and sold it, and started a company that was buying up agencies, got it to, I don't know, $150 million valuation. And then he actually just posted, I don't know if you saw it, Josh, Josh was all about being authentic. And he did a post about how it collapsed. Yeah. I don't know if you saw that.
It did. It resonated a lot with me.
What's that?
Resonated a lot. I've been there, so I get it.
Yeah. And it's like most people wouldn't share any of that, actually. They just kind of sweep it on the rug. But he shared kind of the lessons and what went wrong with it. And so that was great. He's been on twice as well. That many more on InspiredInsider.com. This is going to be a fun episode if you can't tell. We're going to go through a lot of stuff, but before I formally introduce Josh, I'm going to, this episode is brought to you by Rise 25. At Rise 25, we help businesses give to and connect to their dream relationships and partnerships. We do it in 2 ways. One, we're an easy button for a company to launch and run a podcast. We do the strategy, accountability, and the full execution production. People who know my background in biochemistry and as a chiropractor, but I started podcasting 15 years ago, and that turned into a separate business on accident. I never set out to start a separate business in the podcasting space or anything like that, but I found it's an amazing way to share with the world the amazing people I know or get to know. So the second thing we do is we are an easy button for companies gifting. So we make gifting and staying top of mind for clients, partners, prospects, simple and easy and affordable. And sometimes even people send it to their staff. All you do is give us a list of your people, and we do a campaign of gifts to them with your branding, and we curate the products and everything like that. So we kind of call ourselves, Josh, the magic elves that run in the background to make it stress-free so people can build amazing relationships and focus on running their business. You know, like I was saying, the 2 things I will never stop doing is profiling the people I admire on a podcast and sending them sweet treats in the mail. So go to rise25.com or email us at support@rise25.com.
Jeremy, I was going to say really quickly, just for everyone to hear, I mentioned to you earlier that, Rachel and I are going to be working on a podcast. I think I know who I'm going to be talking to real soon, more so after this call. So just had to say that just because I'm excited about it. So.
I'm looking forward to your book, and we're going to talk about it. Yeah. It's Humanize Your Brand. Humanize Your Brand. And we'll talk about it. By the time you listen to this, it may be out. Okay. So we'll talk about it as if it's there. But I want to formally introduce Joshua B. Lee. And he's really a game changer in the world of personal branding, digital influence, and human connection. So if you've wondered, and I know a lot of people do wonder about this, Josh, is like, how do you stand out in a noisy digital world? How do you build a personal brand that creates real opportunities and leverage LinkedIn like a powerhouse? Anyone who's not using LinkedIn and they have a business, I think is just missing the boat. This is not what I do, but I do geek out on LinkedIn stuff. And this is why I love having Josh on, because I've seen this being the most powerful tool for creating connections in the business world. And I know someone through a podcast called you the dopamine dealer of LinkedIn. With over 2 decades in digital marketing, he's built 16 businesses, managed nearly $1 billion in ad spend, driven 35 trillion online impressions. But he does, really acknowledge that metrics don't build relationships, people do. And that's why he founded StandOut Authority. So he helps executives, entrepreneurs, industry leaders humanize their brands and turn the engagement into like real impact. No, obviously he's helped, there's a lot of thought leaders that I know and respect that he works with: Joe Polish, Dan Sullivan, Sally Hogshead, Pierre Diamandis, but he's also worked with companies like Google and AWS and Oracle and other companies like that. So you can check it out, StandOut Authority. So Josh, thanks for joining me.
Jeremy, man, I'm excited for today's conversation. I mean, you and I probably were talking way too much even before we kicked this thing off. So
we better.
I can only imagine where the conversation is going to go now.
Just start off and talk about StandOut Authority and what you do. What I'm going to do is, and you're in for a treat because I have some things that I have pulled up. Okay. I've pulled up LinkedIn and there's some profiles that he knows. Okay. And there's some profiles he doesn't. And we're just going to pull up and go through them and see what could be improved with it real time. So just start off and talk about StandOut Authority and what you do.
StandOut Authority was kind of a reset button for me, Jeremy, to be able to go in because, as you said, from, managing ad spend, being able to move traffic around. Hell, one of my first clients was MySpace, right? Like it's crazy to be able to think about that. My wife always tells me that I aged myself. The Mohawk
like
doesn't give it away.
2005? Like what year does that?
Yeah, 2004, 2005 was when we started working with them to actually help them build one of the first monetization tools for MySpace to be able to actually monetize that traffic. And we had a relationship back then with a company called Overture, who became Yahoo. And hell, Yahoo's not really even around that much anymore. But again, it was crazy. We were like,
it's kind of crazy that's the case too.
It is. It was one of those platforms that was there, was everything, and then we see these things go away. Hell, I've even heard MySpace might be actually coming back. So I'll have to connect. I was on another podcast with a good friend of ours. I think Eric Berman. I didn't realize Eric's brother, Josh Berman, actually someone I knew at MySpace. He was there, one of the original crew. So that was fun being able to go into that and really have that deep conversation, reliving 20 years ago. But Jeremy, I spent years monetizing traffic. And I think the biggest thing was I didn't actually know how many people I helped. I might have made a whole bunch of money. I might have sold a whole bunch of junk, but did I create opportunity? Did I actually give people what they needed? And I think that led me to a point where I was seen as successful, but I didn't feel successful. And so when I went through a reset in my life, I was running multiple different companies at the time, monetizing every acronym. When I first reset, I was like, okay, what am I going to do? And I really wanted to change from monetizing to humanizing. How do we actually change what I had spent a decade plus doing to actually shift it from selling to how do we actually educate, inspire, and draw in our audience? How do we actually get someone to choose to work with you rather than being sold into working with you? Because, dude, I don't know about you, Eric, Jeremy, but I hate being sold, right? Like, it's just, I don't think anyone likes it. And I mean, honestly, I hate selling people too. So I'd rather have a conversation that creates that really builds a relationship, and relationships create opportunity in today's world. So that's where StandOut Authority was born. It's like, how do we actually come in to really empower the human beings behind these brands and allow people to get to know them and actually want to be able to work with them rather than, being caught in a funnel again. And that's what we did at StandOut Authority. We realized on LinkedIn, it was a platform where everyone was just like, oh, let me spam 1,000 people and really hope that we get one sale. That's why we all hate LinkedIn. We always get the, hey, Jeremy, it would say, hey, Dr. Jeremy, I see you like wearing shirts.
With the emoji that I have in my signature. Yes.
Like, I see you like wearing shirts. Me too. Let's connect. And I said, dude, this is so wrong, right? Like, there's a better way to do it. And so that's kind of where I had my shift. And it was like, how do we actually go there and actually do the things that our parents taught us how to be able to treat other human beings, just do it online. And that's kind of where StandOut Authority is born. And I really started being able to work with men and women. I used to read their books on how to be able to start my own companies. And I found there was so much power. You could actually be a light in such a dark space of just automated crap to be able to actually really go in and really start these conversations, because it's the only platform that, guys like you and I are actually on. If you want to talk to someone at a major Fortune 100 company, the chances of you actually talking to that person is 10x versus any other platform. Because most times in today's world, those leaders, those business decision makers, they're not using other platforms anymore. And if they are, they'd have some of their lackeys going through and just reposting their stuff from somewhere else because they were told they should. And so that's what we do at StandOut Authority.
Yeah, and I want to talk about some of the mistakes people make, and you just mentioned one. Yeah. But before we dig into that, how do people typically engage with you from like a service side? I could see here, if you're watching, you listen to the audio, there's a video here, we're on StandOut Authority. You have some training, you have services. What are the ways people engage with you typically?
We're a done for you service, right? We come in to be able to become the human beings that we're representing. So, we've actually recently changed it too, where we had it like you work your brand or signature service or elite, where going through, we're actually defining what your personal brand is, redoing your LinkedIn, owning your messaging, right? How do we actually understand your mannerisms, your tonality, your vocabulary, and be able to have real conversations, creating content. I mean, this is the one thing you mentioned, Peter Diamandis, like he said, no one had ever gotten his content as well as we did, right? Like that's a huge reward for us, for someone to be able to say that. And that's what most of our clients say, that we go to so many people all the time and no one ever can get my voice the way that y'all have done it. And so that's what we do, right? We're going through to really understand someone's voice, who their audience is, and how to actually build those relationships. And honestly, first and foremost, I'm not here to get you clients, right? We're here to be able to build advocates for our clients, because an advocate can bring them thousands of opportunities. And I think that's the big difference that we're doing. Advocates are so much more clients than a one-to-one client. And so when you're looking at these different aspects, that's the big thing. And what we started doing now, Jeremy, is like, oh, come in. We have a monthly service. We work with you for 6 months. Most of our clients stay on us for a couple of years. We're now going through and going, all right, first thing, we want to go in and understand who you are. Let us go ahead and build your personal brand and give you an entire package that you can actually be able to go through and see. Look, you even found a link that was broken. Thank you.
Well, no, it's not broken. Actually, it's just
just not signed into Discord.
You have to be invited. Yeah, you have to be exclusive member of the StandOut Authority. Because I'm looking here, he's watching me go through. Like, we're looking at the services, but they have trainings too as well.
We do. Yeah. We do, and we go through and train a lot of companies.
But you have to be like, I'm not VIP yet, so like,
we'll get you in there. Don't worry.
You have to be in the VIP community, but they have one.
Jeremy, I'll tell you. So one of our clients is the CEO of Delphi.ai. I don't know if you've heard of Delphi.
I had him on.
Okay,
I actually did an interview with his. I go, I don't want to even interview you. I want to interview you. I'll let you talk about what they do, but I interviewed his video clone for the podcast. So that's what I did.
This is the funny part, right? Yeah. Dara, the CEO of Delphi, who builds video clones in everyone's voice, hired us to build out his personal brand and run his LinkedIn content. So if that says anything, but I mean, that's that whole piece, right? Being able to go through. So like, we've actually got the Josh clone coming out here soon too.
Oh, nice.
I think that it's going to totally change everything, because I don't think we're going to have the training services that you and I grew up on, right? Being able to go through, hey, here's your weekly sessions. The clone has every piece of my knowledge, and it's going to be able to take someone through based on how they listen and how they grow. Oh, there we go. Yeah, he was actually just here in Austin, but yeah, love Dara. He's an amazing human. If you haven't checked out Delphi or this podcast, y'all are missing out, because it's probably one of the best I've seen.
That's me with his AI clone.
I can tell because I've seen the picture.
I had him on for like 10 minutes just to like chat, but the majority of it is with his clone. So if you want to check out what Josh is talking about here, you can go to delphi.ai.
And I mean, look at the people that he's working with. I mean, it really is amazing. I even know some others that haven't been released yet. And it's fantastic to be able to see the level of human beings. A lot of my friends, you got Lewis Howes on there, Brian Tracy, Ben Greenfield. I mean, like, look, it's the people that are really creating change in this world. Brendan Burchard, they're the ones that are stepping up and really joining Delphi right now.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah. So mistakes. people make. You mentioned one, the connection. We'll start from like the basics, right?
Yeah.
Reaching out to someone, you know, I was having a little bit of a debate with someone the other day. Actually, it was on a podcast. The person was a guest, and I was saying I always send personalized connection request messages to people.
Smart.
And if someone wants to get hold of me, I want a personalized connection request message. And I look through every one and I accept them or not accept them. And the ones that are, I don't know, I kind of feel it's a bit lazy if you don't send it. But they were saying, no, they were saying, oh, when I send personalized messages as opposed to none, I get more acceptance with none. I'm like, that sounds crazy to me.
Well,
but
you know why, Jeremy? Because what they're doing, I got kids, so I always say they're playing Pokemon online. They're trying to catch them all. And this is the whole piece, man. I mean, like, you can send it, but this is why everyone goes, I hate LinkedIn. My feeds suck. I get spammed all the time, because that's what they're doing. They're sending non-personalized connections to as many people as possible because they're trying to think it's a numbers game, and it's not. I mean, look at one of the biggest proponents out there, Gary Vee. He will tell you right now, LinkedIn is not a numbers game. You do not need millions of connections and followers to create massive opportunity, not only for yourself, but for your company. And so, like, this is the thing that I think most people need to pay attention to, and where I'm going to be honest, if you go back in, I mean, LinkedIn's been around longer than any other platform out there. They just turned 21 last year, so they're turning 22 this year, right? They're of drinking age, right? So they can have fun, and everyone's like, oh my God, LinkedIn. But here's the thing, right? Like, you really have to be able to understand that half of those connections that we all started off with, we were just collecting them all. They're not even relevant to who we want to connect. And this is something it was Perry Belcher at the last and final ever traffic and conversion summit, right? He was up there and he's like, every single platform it goes through and they're all the For You pages. Everything's moving to every algorithm is for the For You. It's not being able to go through. They're showing you who they believe based on how they know you, what kind of content you should see. And I'm sitting in the background. I was like, damn, Perry should have talked to me, because it's not every single platform. LinkedIn is the only one that it will show your content to your connections first and see how it resonates before it shows it to anybody else. And so that's why your connections and actually sending those personalized connection requests, Jeremy, are so, so important. Because if you just got a whole bunch of people that don't resonate with your content, you don't add value to them and they don't add value to you, that's why you don't get any visibility on LinkedIn, because you're not building the right, database of just networking opportunities on that platform. And that's why I tell a lot of people, I've hate to use the word, but culled my list, because you only have 30,000 connections you can do. I've actually cut that in half at least once or twice before, just because I was going back in and go, these people don't engage. They are not relevant to what I do now. So I don't need to be able to go on there and go, oh, look at me, I've got 30,000 followers. I'd rather have 15. It's the same thing with the email list, right? I'd rather have 15 with a high open rate than have, 100,000 that never read my emails.
So mistake one, when you're connecting with someone, not being specific, not being personal with the connection itself.
Yeah.
Another mistake is just, it kind of goes into the connection thing, was just trying to get numbers up, which is going to hurt your engagement and, the algorithm of people actually seeing your stuff.
Yeah.
What else mistakes do people make with LinkedIn?
Well, and I'll say this, right? Like, I don't want to give a mistake without giving a solution, Jeremy. Yeah. So what I would suggest, I look at 3 different ways of being able to connect. I hate cold calling and I hate cold email. So like, I don't want to do it to anybody else. And that's what that blank connection request is, spray and pray, as I kind of call it. And so what I look for are triggers, right? Did someone look at my profile? LinkedIn's the only platform that we can see if someone looks at our profile, right? That's an opportunity. That means someone's looking for me or looking for someone like me, right? That's the only reason why they would go to my profile. Second, did someone engage in my content? Again, they're interested in what I'm posting. Or the last piece, the last trigger is using Sales Navigator, which is LinkedIn built-in CRM system. And they have this little button on there. Once I've identified my audience, and they have filters on there, y'all. Like, all the filters that Facebook got rid of, LinkedIn still has it and more. And so once you have that, and it's like $100 a month, and you can actually click this one little button that says posted on LinkedIn in the last 30 days. So now I can see my ideal audience and that they're active on LinkedIn. And so our trigger points are, hey, Jeremy, I saw you checked out my profile. I just want to reach out and say, thank you, man. Too often we don't appreciate that. Love to be able to connect with you. Find out what pushed you to look me up, right? I'm asking a question. I'm starting a conversation. Or Jeremy, I saw you like my recent post, man. Thank you. Love to find out what pushed you and engage. Or the last one, man, Jeremy, I saw your post on your interview with Joshua Lee, man. Dude, it was amazing. Thank you so much for really adding. All I'm doing is thanking someone for taking an action, right? They've taken an action. I thanked them and started a conversation with them. Those are our 3 outreach messages, right? Unless it's like I'm meeting them at an event or something of that nature. That's how we reach out. That's how we start every single conversation with a thank you, because in a world where our human algorithm online has been conditioned to, we're in a pattern of like, comment, share, post, like, comment, share, post. When you thank someone for something they take for granted, it creates a stopgap in their pattern. And now you have opportunity for connection. Most people just get caught up in that pattern. And so I just wanted to make sure I gave a solution.
No, I love that because I get on LinkedIn stuff and I tell people this: if you search, people go, well, I don't go on LinkedIn. Well, it doesn't matter, because when you search someone's name, usually LinkedIn is the first or second result, even above 100%. Someone's website. Yep. So even though you don't go on, if you are someone searching for you online, they're going to go to your LinkedIn, and then it decreases credibility and authority, whether you go on there or not. So that's to say, I want to get into the profile itself, but I love what you said there, because even though where I was going with that is I geek out on LinkedIn, and what you just said, I don't even do, or I've not thought of. That's great. And it's kind of like, consider it like for paid ads, it's like retargeting. It's like, if you aren't doing retargeting, which is the cheapest traffic, if someone's already visiting your site, anyone who knows what they're doing in paid ads would be like, that's literally the first thing they will have you do. It's the lowest hanging fruit. They've already checked you out and follow 100%. Them around. And I'm not doing this on LinkedIn. So
organic retargeting.
Thanks for pointing that out. I'm not even checking out like who's checking me out here.
And that's the whole piece. Like people, well, I don't want to go, and I've had people going like, I'm not going to connect with everyone. I go, well, you know what? Here's the thing. You can connect with them. Like, why would I reach out to everyone? Like, if they're not my ideal audience, you can adjust that too in Sales Navigator. You can see who's looked at my profile and if they fit. But as I told you in the beginning, Jeremy, I'm looking for advocates. Even if they're not a client now, I'd want those people to be connected because they're looking at my profile. They're excited to be able to reach out. You never know by reaching out to someone. Like, advocates are the reason why you and I are on a podcast right now, because we have people that love us and appreciate what we stand for and have allowed us to be able to have the audience that we have. So why not be able to go through and bring them into my world? I'm not looking for clients. I want advocates, because that person can tell, they see something like, okay, I got to tell a story real quick. I know we're getting totally off topic.
Do it. No.
Here's the thing. So, Dan Sullivan, one of my old clients, I'm blessed to be able to call him that. And, we actually created his first LinkedIn profile. And I remember this story, and this is why I do what I do, Jeremy, because we reached out and it was the simple thing. Thank you. Right. Appreciate the people that appreciate us. And we reached out as Dan and said, hey, just want to reach out and say, thank you, for liking our recent posts. Want to say we appreciate you, and we connected with a person, and his message back is something that'll sit with me forever, because again, it changed someone's life. His message back, Jeremy, was, Dan, you'll never know what this means to me. Right. Today I had planned on it being my last, but for you to show me to appreciate the things I took for granted gave me new hope for my world. Thank you. Like, that one message, just reaching out to say thank you to someone that took an action towards someone he loved and appreciated, changed the course of that person's life. And we forget how small ripples in this world, as the people that are on socials or on podcasts or, on webinars, on stage, when we say thank you to these people that helped us get there, what it can do. And so that's what we do, man. And I think that's a real important piece that people need to take into consideration.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's low-hanging fruit people are not
Yeah.
doing. Let's maybe look at the profile a little bit
Yeah.
because I know people mess this up.
All
Okay.
the time. They make it about
So
them.
let's look at yours. And I have a few others pulled up
Yeah.
and maybe some of the elements that are important to take a look at that
So
people
the
don't do.
first line, right? Mine, I play with mine a lot, but I mean, I want you to be able to see this, right? Helping seven-figure entrepreneurs and executives build authority, create influence, attract high-value opportunities on LinkedIn without selling. I help X to do Y so they can have Z, right? I help X, who's my ideal client. I want to be able to attract my ideal audience, my tribe, and I want to push away the people I don't work with. If you're not doing seven figures, I might not be the right person. Follow my content. We just might not be the right company to be able to, for you to hire at this point in time in your stage of your career, right? So that's okay. And then, what we do, everyone wants to understand, they want the burger, but they don't care how it's made. You don't go into McDonald's and be like, all right, cool, great. I want a Big Mac. Can you tell me how it's made?
Well, it's funny you say that because like I wanted to deter my kids from eating some of the stuff from McDonald's. So I actually showed them I found a video online of them making chicken nuggets, and then my daughter started crying, like, you ruined chicken nuggets for me. Like, and I was like, that was the point, actually.
Yeah.
So
But I mean,
sometimes you definitely don't want to know how it's made.
But marketers do this all the time, right? They're like, hey, I'm going to go through and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z for you. And people are like, I don't care. What's the outcome? And honestly, they don't even care about the outcome. They care about the emotional outcome. Because as human beings, we make decisions based on some degree of love or hate. We don't make decisions being indifferent to anything. So, like for me, I want people to understand we're doing it without selling, right? What's that Z? So I help X, the ideal client, to do Y, the service I provide, so they can have, right? Z. Mine's a little bit different, but most of our clients that we go through, like, what's that outcome? Not more sales. What do more sales do for you? Being able to help you launch a podcast, what's that do for you? Does it take stress away from you, right? Things of this nature that you've done at Rise 25. The outcome is what people want to buy. That's what they go, oh, I want that. Most people go, I'm the CEO of StandOut Authority, or, I'm an author. Like, I've got some of that stuff in the background for SEO purposes. Just like you said, LinkedIn is the most optimized and indexed site on Google. And if everyone's not paying attention, Microsoft owns LinkedIn. Microsoft also really owns OpenAI. Jeremy, you and I talked about this in previous conversation, but people aren't paying attention. They are using LinkedIn as the basis of the future of search, or the future of business. When generative search comes out, LinkedIn is the basis of what they're using to be able to index for that. So like that's what we're seeding for. This is the future of SEO, is LinkedIn. And it starts with being able to make sure your title's on point, and it's about who you're helping. No one cares about who you are, right? Like, that's fine. They'll figure that out. What do you do? What can you do for them?
Yeah. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, we have 925 mutual connections. That's a lot. Anyway, almost 1,000 people. So yeah, definitely that. What else do people mess up when it comes to their LinkedIn profile?
I mean, a lot of things.
I mean, I tell people this is like a high converting landing page. You should treat it like a high converting landing page.
That top banner, right? Again, your screen's a little smaller, so usually I don't cover up the connections part, but that's that whole piece, right? Like, you need to be able to say, most people just have their business, title, or they have a picture of them standing on stage. That's a billboard, and billboards aren't static. That's my main one that we do, and as you see, I can even have a call to action, a CTA in there, because it's the biggest piece of property on that first above the fold, right? And so it goes down to grab the cheat sheet now, the link, right underneath my name, right? So, and that kind of arrow almost points up to the box, right? So being able to go in there, this is an automatic opportunity to be able to actually download and be able to get up, pull people off platform. Look, I love LinkedIn, Jeremy, but you and I both know you need to be able to own your audience, because if you're living on LinkedIn's island, Facebook's island, or whoever platform you're on, guess what? They own you. If they change the algorithm, you're out anyway. So this is what I want everyone to think about, right? Like, how are you using this? When we have an event coming up, we rotate this billboard out. We have many different, banners that we use depending on what we're working on or focusing on right now.
Yep. Any other key pieces? So
last pieces.
Yeah.
Last pieces. Now, again, you got to be able to get people down, right? So we got them hooked. They want to come down the about section. This is your story. Don't write. And the whole piece, right? Like, I don't want people to be able to go in and tell me their resume. No one even uses a resume anymore. I don't think corporate uses a resume, right? So why are you using LinkedIn as your resume?
Probably use LinkedIn.
Exactly. So tell your career journey, where you've been, where you're at, where you're going, right? Like, I want people to understand I'm telling a story. I want to keep people involved, what's going on. And I want to talk about me as a human being as well. So like, this is a section that people don't optimize. Most times they'll have one little paragraph and that's it. This is all, remember we talked about SEO indexing. This is all index. Why not use the entire, every last character you can in your bio to be able to tell your story?
Yep.
Next piece is I want people to think about featured section, really important to be able to go in. This is like a news feed, right? Like, what do you want to be able to show people? How do you actually, what's new, what's coming out? These are like, it's like to be able to, how do we actually fill this in? I've got, recommendations on here. I've got new posts that I've done. I've got my news feed, other activities that you want to go in. As you see here, I've got video as my first. Video is being amazing right now. Jeremy, last year I did almost 2.5 million views on LinkedIn. So far at the beginning of this year, I'm almost at 30 million views total across all my content on LinkedIn. It's insane. I mean, it's, I think if
and when you compare the average user of LinkedIn compared to other social, it's just professional. I mean, they're professionals.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that's that whole base. I think I'm trying to remember which one it is. There's one on here right at the top. I think yesterday is the one I'm in Costa Rica where I'm talking about OpenAI and ChatGPT, how they just partnered up. They're one next door. Not just building smarter toys.
Oh, right here.
I think that's at 1.2 million views right now.
Wow.
And that's just, that was posted yesterday. So, I mean, this is what I want everyone to understand, right? Like, there's such an opportunity on what's going on with LinkedIn to be able to go through. The last piece I want to talk about for everyone, just with profile, tell your entire career journey. I don't just put on their founder, CEO of wherever company you're at right now, or marketing or whatever it is. Like, I want you to be able to tell me where you started from. Like, the biggest problem I see with most thought leaders, most business owners, is they just put where they're at now. That puts them here and their audience way below them, and puts a huge gap between them and their audience. If you go all the way back through, which you don't need to, my first job is on here as a server at Chili's.
I saw that. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what it does? It goes, oh my God, Josh worked at Chili's. Me too. Maybe I can get there one day.
I love Chili's.
Yeah. So there you go. Same thing. Recommendations. Like, this is a big piece. Go back up to recommendations real quick. Everyone pay attention to this. If you've run a business at any point in time, you've had someone reach out. I mean, it used to happen a lot more. It doesn't happen as much anymore. Be like, hey, Jeremy, I'm going for this new job. Can I put you down as a reference? You're like, cool. Yeah, Josh, I love you, man. We've talked. Someone calls you. Hey, how's Josh? Josh is great. All right, cool. Click, out of sight, out of mind. Recommendations on LinkedIn stand the test of time, and all the T's have been crossed and all the I's have been dotted. So also I can screenshot them and use them on my website or anywhere I want to, right? Which most times you can't do when you have a lead page or something of that nature. So like, these recommendations, if you went all the way back to the beginning of it, guys, like, my recommendations start from 2008. So that means that I can show that people have loved what I've done for that long. You can ask for up to 5 recommendations a day. I'm not going to tell you that you're going to get all 5, but I push people to actually ask for them every day. If it's in your rotation or for your VA, whoever you're using, go through, start asking for those, because that also gives more weight to your profile the more recommendations you have.
That's great. Yeah, I don't see many people utilizing that section at all. Maybe they have 1, maybe they have 2.
Yeah. So this is important, right? To be able to go through. Endorsements are good, but not as much anymore. Man, Jeremy, you haven't endorsed me yet? What the hell? I'm joking.
There we go.
So it's funny.
Done.
I want y'all to understand. So this is another trigger. So we talked about this, Jeremy, that outreach, right? So we got the first trigger, which is they looked at your profile, engaged in your content, or your ideal audience using Sales Navigator. You found them and they posted online. Then they connect, right? Once they connect, this is where most people mess up. They go in and they go, oh, hey, Hi, Jeremy. Hey, ever thought about using LinkedIn to get leads and blah, 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 word vomit, right? You're like, oh, great. Okay, delete. I just got pitched. Everything I do is based on what my mom taught me how to treat other human beings, right? Appreciate for people for when they take action, right? When they connect, give someone a compliment, right? Man, hey, Jeremy, dude, I love what you guys do at Rise 25. It's amazing, right? We say this all the time. Well, on LinkedIn, a compliment is an endorsement. That's the way I look at it, right? So when Jeremy just endorsed me on LinkedIn after we just connected, let's just say, I just got a message saying, hey, Josh, Jeremy just endorsed you for whatever it is, branding. Do you want to say thank you? LinkedIn does that for me. They send the first message out. Most people just click the button like, hey, man, Josh, Jeremy, thank you so much for endorsing me for branding, man. Thank you. Like, what's up?
It's never happened where someone's like, Joshua, don't endorse me.
Never happened.
You know what I mean?
Most people are like
you're not gonna get a
happens.
negative response if you endorse someone. Like
never happens.
Why'd you just endorse me for LinkedIn activity? Don't do that.
Now I might get that. Hey, I just got endorsed by you. What's up, right? Like it starts a conversation. But what it is just like we talk about this. Like this is the big thing that I see, Jeremy. Like everyone's like, oh, dopamine's so bad. Dopamine without intention is bad. Dopamine without intention is chaos. And that's why we have chaos on social media, because they're dealing you and keeping you in a flow state on social media in a constant cycle without it leaving. Dopamine with intention creates opportunity, right? It puts you in flow state. It allows us to be able to connect deeper. So what I'm doing is I said, thank you, dopamine hit. We connected. That's your next action. Now my next action is to give you a compliment, dopamine hit. You then say, Josh, thanks for endorsing me. I can then see a message like, Jeremy, happy to do it, man. Hey, quick question for you. Now I can ask a question about you, qualifying question, right? And now we really start a conversation. Now I know how to add value for you based on where you're at, not where I believe you to be. And so like, this is the way dude, I've been doing the same messaging sequence for almost 10 years. I haven't had to change it because the one algorithm that doesn't change, LinkedIn algorithms change, Facebook, Instagram, they change all the time. And now we don't even know when the new algorithms come out because they're all AI, right? So they don't say, hey, here's the new algorithm coming out. It's all AI generated. The one algorithm that doesn't change is the human algorithm. It's the one that stands the test of time. It just evolves slowly. So as long as I know how to tap into that, which is what I just shared right there, it works consistently time and time again.
Yeah, it makes me think of, and I think it's attributed to Jeff Bezos, Josh, but where he says he's thinking of Amazon and what is not going to change, right? People are never going to say, I want my stuff slower. I want my stuff more expensive. So the same thing what you do for LinkedIn. It's like, what is not going to change?
And here's the thing, man. This happened just in another group I was in, this Speakeasy Mastermind. And someone put like, hey, LinkedIn got gurus. Like, what's the best automation? And this is from a good buddy of mine, so I'm not going to mention his name. We texted stuff like that. But I said, dude, I'm just going to tell you right now, one, automation, like if you ever use those automated tools, they update the code every night to stay ahead of LinkedIn because it's against their terms and conditions. And so like they're trying to stay ahead of the game. And I've used, and now that OpenAI is integrated in the backside of LinkedIn, like they're catching those people faster than ever. You'll lose your entire profile if you get caught using automation on LinkedIn. It's not worth it. And here's the deal. Because of marketers ruin everything, guys. Let's just leave that out there. Like most marketers in this world have ruined the best things that we love. And because they spam or they do whatever, they find ways to be able to like trick the system. Same thing with LinkedIn. So like now we only get 400 connection requests a month. So when I look at that, Jeremy, and I broke this down.
I can't remember. It used to be like
unlimited.
1,000 a day or something, or something, and then it's like 100 a week or something. Maybe it was 100 a day. I forgot what it was.
But that's the thing, right? So we get 400 a month. That's 100 a week. That's 20 a day. I don't think anyone here listening. I mean, there's got to be someone on your team if you can't find the time to do it to make 20 real connections a day. And we're not searching for it, right? We're looking at a profile, we're looking at our recent posts, and we're looking on Sales Navigator. So it makes it super easy to be able to find the right 20 people to send a connection message out to. So why do you need automation, right? Like not on LinkedIn right now. I mean, unless you're just trying to automate more bad connections or more spam or ruin your personal brand, because that's what it's going to do.
So, thanks for walking through that. I
Yeah.
think it's really instructive. And even if someone implements one or two of these things, it'll be game changing.
Yeah.
So I did pull up, again, if people are listening to the audio, we are looking at the video and we're looking at, Josh's LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And so if you do all the things for Josh, go in and endorse him, go in and like his stuff,
Please.
go in and comment on his stuff and share his stuff. I will be doing that after this for sure. And I pulled up a couple. I know we have Dan Sullivan. If you look at Dan's stuff, like you got the banner across the top, you got
Yep.
the what they do here and some of these other elements, built out about. So all the stuff that Josh
we helped create this
about.
profile and being able to go in. I mean, it was really, I mean, here's the thing. I said, pull your experience. Dan hasn't done anything else. I mean, that's the one thing. Like, he's been doing strategic coach for almost 37 years, him and Babs. So, it's kind of hard, but like, I'm proud to be able to say that, because Dan used to be like, hey, at events, he'd be like, hey, this is Josh. He plays me on LinkedIn, right? Like, I was the only one that he ever allowed to be able to
Right.
be his profile and kind of go in. So that was kind of cool. And I mean, look, Dan Sullivan, he creates massive opportunity. He hasn't needed a lot of clients. Peter, right? Like,
So Peter is one I know. He's got some amazing stuff. Talk about him for a second.
Peter, what he does, what he's been able to do, like, there's so much opportunity that he was able to see. And like, just being able to go through, we redid his entire profile. He already had, 200,000 plus followers, but they weren't optimizing. He was just getting a little bit of engagement. Now his engagement is just amazing. And at the same point, I mean, look at this. We built out everything to be able to go through what he's doing, what's going on, what we help Peter be able to actually accomplish as well.
And if you don't know who he is, look at his profile, actually. I mean, X Prize Foundation, Abundance 360, Singularity University. There's a lot. I mean, you've probably heard of some of the stuff he's done, but maybe not his name specifically, but he's behind a lot of amazing stuff.
He is. And I mean, when you're kind of looking through this aspect, I mean, with Peter, what we were able to do is not only be able to create content that he felt was the best ever in his voice, but, like, one of the things we were actually helping him run a LinkedIn events. LinkedIn events are powerful. And I don't want anyone to be able to run a LinkedIn event from their personal profile. It's great to be able to do that. But what I actually push people to actually think about is actually run a LinkedIn event from your company page, because there's more opportunity. So like with Peter, we ran it from Abundance 360. We had two different events we were building for. Abundance 360, which is one of his big national events, his big group. And then we ran it for another smaller event where it's about a life, trying to remember the name of it right now in German, but it was basically like how to live to 200, right? $70,000 to be able to go to one of these events for 3 days. And I mean, we were able to start filling it up with the right people by running a LinkedIn event and being able to have those people show up and leverage LinkedIn. I mean, come on, there's not many people out there that can be able to find the right people to go to are willing to afford $70,000 for a 3-day event. LinkedIn can do that. But the reason why we run it from their company pages is because when you do it right, and we run them for our clients, we run it every 4 to 6 weeks. We run LinkedIn events for all of our clients, like a webinar style event. And what we do it for is because the fact that we'll get anywhere from 100 to some of our clients will get up to 1,000 registrants every single month for that event. Let's be honest, 25, 30% show up rate, depending on who you are, how many times you've done it.
Still a good show up rate, 30%.
If it's our first event, if it's our 15th event, right? It all adjusts. But the cool thing is when you run it from your company page, I now get GDPR certified, first name, last name, and email. So now I not only can nurture them pre and post event on LinkedIn, I now can actually add them to my email database and be able to nurture them pre and post email as well. That's huge, because most of us are in this affiliate play where we're just trading emails back and forth. And we've all done it before. Half of us, you and I, all our friends, Jeremy, half of us all have the same emails at this point. This is a way to be able to get new people that are specific to what you're trying to be able to do. And what we do, and I just want to kind of lay this out there, we do it 4 to 6 weeks because every single week, each speaker at the event, so you make yourself a speaker. It's even better if you have 2 people. So let's say Jeremy and I, everyone are doing an event in 4 weeks. We're going to make each one of us speakers. He gets 1,000 invites a week. I get 1,000 invites a week. So in 4 weeks, that means we get to invite 8,000 of our connections for free to an event. Now, what you want to do is not just blow that 1,000 in one day. we always trickle that out, because what LinkedIn wants to do as well, because they're spending a lot of money and energy into their LinkedIn events, you want to be able to invite about 200 a day, right? 200 people a day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because you want to show growth in that event. Because when not only are you going to get the 8,000, when you actually show LinkedIn that your event is continually gaining steam, they're now going to share it out to the rest of their audience as well too. So, I mean, that's huge. If you can do that every single month, even if your own audience, if or not, find some other people that are running events, like Russell Brunson, for instance, right? Like Russell has some of the amazing speakers in the world. He could be running LinkedIn events and have every single one of those speakers that hits his stage, and then teach them how to be able to invite 1,000 people. Now you got 10 people, 1,000 people. Like, look, you could have 100,000 people you can invite for free to one webinar to be able to get them into an event, physical or virtual.
Let's look at Russell's page for a second here. I have it pulled up. But before we get there, it's interesting. I'm wondering, like, partners for you. I mean, is Jason Fladlin, if you guys mixed, would you, if you had a baby, would it just blow people up from like the LinkedIn 100%. To the webinar stuff? I mean, I know you know Jason.
I know Jason. We haven't actually talked about that. So it's a good thought.
Like,
100%. Yeah, Jason and I would probably do some amazing things.
You would blow some companies up using the combination of your LinkedIn and the stuff he does with webinars.
100%. Yeah. And I mean, you're not the first person that said that, right? Like, and you know, we all get going through, and like, it's funny. Like, everyone's like, you and Jason should talk. We just we were in Genius together, stuff like that. Just haven't made the time, but now I think we need to make that conversation happen. But yeah, man, this is the opportunity. Like, people aren't paying attention to, and when you can run an amazing webinar, we had one client, and look, people love him or hate him. I get to know him better. JT Fox, he's been around for a long time, but I'll tell you,
I've been to one of his events actually. So I had Joe Sugarman on the podcast. Okay, I don't know if you know Joe. So if people don't, he started Blue Blockers. If you don't know Blue Blockers, is like just an amazing infomercial. He was selling at the high point 300,000 pairs of sunglasses a month with infomercials, and he wrote my personal favorite copywriting book of all time. And so he was going to be in town in Chicago, and he's like, he was speaking. He's like, do you want to come hang out?
JT's,
and it was at JT's event. And so I went and hung out there. So I did have been to one of his events. I didn't know
JT's polarizing, right? And he knows the game. You know, people are going to love him or hate him. And the people that love him unconditionally. But like, when we were running JT's stuff on LinkedIn, we were doing events, brother. I mean, we were able to get, I think in 2 months, we helped him close over $500,000 in business. I mean, you know, he had a $5,000 gum in to be able to learn how to be able to invest and be able to go through. And I mean, it was just 2 months. That was just the first 2 months of working together, being able to run those LinkedIn events. So like, there's massive opportunity on this platform. And look, he's got almost 19,000 connections. We're not talking about a lot of people you do not, 2 months, $500,000 from webinars, and he's only got less than 20,000 connections. This is what I'm trying to tell you. This is what
just Gary to give people an idea too, Jeff. People don't know, like, his speakers at his events have been Tom Brady, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Richard Branson, Jillian Michaels, those type of people.
Crazy people to speak at his events and being able to go through. But JT's done a lot. I mean, it's
so talk about Russell for a second. I mean, all of us can improve, right? Even
I love Russell.
Like Russell Brunson and ClickFunnels. What are some? Let's look at his profile for a second.
Just go down. I mean, like, Russell has 94,000. That's great. He's got one of the largest platforms out there that everyone uses. But then when you look at his content, being able to go through, I'm going to be honest, like 39 likes, 21 comments. I mean, we're not talking about, there should be more, right? And this is being able to do that retargeting. You have to be able to condition your audience to be able to go through. I have 45,000 connections. He has 96,000. Again, it's not about the number of followers that you have. It's how you actually leverage and use them. Same thing. Look at his experience. There's nothing on there. He didn't even write we all know what ClickFunnels does. Most of us, like, at least in our world, but you can't just depend on our world. It's one thing my wife told me a long time ago when she was working at Microsoft, Jeremy. She was like, that's cool. You've worked with people like Tony Robbins and X, Y, and Z or Joe Polish. Guess what? Most people at Microsoft have no clue who those people are. So that's cool that you're amazing in your little world, but the world's much bigger than that. And that's what we have to remember. LinkedIn can get us access to a much larger audience, a much larger world if we use it accordingly.
And Russell's big in webinars too.
Yeah.
So
we've talked a couple of years about helping them out. And it's just things get big and go through. Jim Quick, same thing. We're in talks right now with Jim. I've known Jim for a long time. It was funny. So this was last year at a buddy of mine, Giovanni's event. I think we were in Canada, Toronto for one of his events, and Jim and I are sitting there, and he hears me talking about LinkedIn. He's like, "Josh, wait a minute, what? Like, hold on, help me log in." I'm like, because I was like, "Jim, dude, like you've got to be crushing it over there. Like you've almost got 100,000 followers over there." He goes, "I don't even think I've ever logged into my LinkedIn." Untapped opportunity.
That should literally be. I'm going to change the tagline on yours.
Yeah.
If you have over 100,000 followers and you have not logged in the past 6 months, you need to call me. That's what it's about.
And there's a lot of people on there that,
I mean, Perry Marshall, we were talking about him. I am a huge fan of his stuff, 80/20 sales and marketing. He's just, I'm going to pull him up here. And we were chatting about, I was doing a webinar.
Yeah.
And I pulled up his profile and I'm like, he's active. I don't know how they're posting necessarily, but
most of these people just go through and post whatever they posted on Facebook or Instagram. Then they just copy it over to LinkedIn because it's just another platform.
Yeah. And let's look at Perry's for a second.
Yeah. There you go. And it's Perry M. He didn't even put his full name. Like you're not going to find him if you don't know actually who you're looking for. Perry Marshall is prolific. He's been around forever.
Well, this is my favorite line here.
Yeah.
He wrote, as for people who aren't watching the video, "I never check LinkedIn. Contact me through my office if you want to talk to me."
Missed opportunity. Now, guess what? That about section is getting indexed all over Google and all over ChatGPT now and Open and Copilot, right? Because those are the two companies that are really using LinkedIn to index. So that's a huge miss. Like, I don't want that. I don't want that, going anywhere. So this is the whole piece, right? Like,
would you change? Let's start from the top down. What would you change on this?
He's got a picture talking. If you don't know who Perry Marshall is, that doesn't even mean anything to me. His banner, there doesn't tell me anything. It doesn't actually tell me. It doesn't evoke an emotion. And this is what I see. Also, too, his picture, he's got he's missing half his head. Like this is our first, we are, as human beings, we are visual, right? We make decisions visually before anything else. So the first thing I'm seeing here is someone that kind of threw up a picture up there, did that. There's nothing visual that's catching my eye here. So that's a big miss. Author 80/20, all other stuff. Like there's just a lot of pieces on here that I think that Perry, author of 80/20, like, look, I got it. Dude, anyone that's read his books, we know Perry is phenomenal. Anyone's ever talked to Perry, we know he's phenomenal. But if you don't, and again, just like I said, what my wife told me, there's a huge population of this planet that have never heard of Perry Marshall. So that right there tells me nothing about what he can do for me. This tells me what he has done in his career. Same thing. Look, go back down real quick. Right there. Founder, Evolution 2.0. It shows me right there. See how it has the little boxes? He didn't even take time out to create a business page. 80% of all B2B leads off of social media come from LinkedIn across all social media platforms. So that's a huge number. That means that his business page is missing out because he doesn't even have one on there for Evolution 2.0 prize. That takes 2 seconds to be able to build out.
Yeah.
That's a huge miss for everyone. Like, oh, well, do I need a business page? 100%. We're talking about 80% of all business B2B leads. And look, I hate B2B or B2C because like, I think there's just ways to diversify ad spend. I think everything's H to H, human to human. Like every company is run by another human being. But when we look at numbers, how this world's made together, 20% come from Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. If you're running a business and you're speaking to other businesses, you damn better well have, and we know Perry Marshall does, you better well have a business page on there.
Yep. I mean, Perry is one of the most impressive people, copywriters, marketers, and if he wrote, I don't know if it was the first book, one of the first books on Google AdWords,
Yeah.
right? Before, you know, it was popular. So Perry, if you're listening, there's some cool low-hanging fruit
We
stuff
love
here
you, but
with your profile, the picture here. He gave, Josh gave some stuff on your
well, even the
uh
about section, right, Jeremy? Like I love him to death. Like he's speaking in third person. It's talking about him. This is your opportunity to talk to your audience. He knows that. He's one of the, as you said, he's one of the most prolific copywriters out there. He's one of the early OGs of copywriting. You always want to speak to your audience. Now this is just about him. So like that's a big miss too. I want him to tell a story about where he's been. Like he's lived an amazing life. He has changed so many lives on this planet. And this is just another resume.
yep. One, we can talk for the next 6 hours
Yeah.
but I know you have things to do. You got back from a trip, but I have a last question
Yeah.
topic and books. So I want to know, we'll talk about some of your favorite business marketing books, but I want to start with Humanize Your Brand
Yeah.
and some of the favorites, a favorite story from there and where people can check that out.
Well, it's coming out here soon. That's the amazing thing. My wife and I, it's my second book. Humanize, Humanize Your Brand. And it's a funny story, right? Like I was sitting with friends of ours, Travis and Joy Houston. And I was like, oh, hey, we're working on this whole new brand, Humanize Your Brand. And I'm from Houston, so I don't use the H too well. And they're like, dude, that's amazing. Wow. I'm like, that's cool. I mean, like, yeah, we're working on it. It's like, I've never heard of that before. I'm like, you've never heard about humanizing your brand? And even my wife was like freaking out. I'm like, I don't know what am I missing? And they're like, humanize. I'm like, yeah, that's what I said. They're like, no, Y-O-U, humanize, making you the center of the brand. And I was like, wow. So yeah, we've got that book coming out just based off of, I've got 20 years as an entrepreneur. My wife's been in the corporate world working for running branding for companies like Microsoft and Gartner, right? And now she works with us at Stand Authority. We wanted to be able to go through and share what we've learned, where we've been, and why it's so important in an age of digital AI, why the human being, the human brand is so important than ever. And so that's what that's what the book is, right? How to be able to actually take that, not just on LinkedIn, but across the globe and own your narrative. Because if you don't own your narrative, guess what, y'all? The algorithm is going to make it for you. And this is why we take so much time on LinkedIn. I look at it this way, right? I want everyone to be able to build that brand. So that's what that book's about. And then as I mentioned, we're going to have a podcast called Humanize Your Brand Podcast as well that we're launching. That's also going to be coming out to be able to interview amazing humans that we believe are the antithesis of owning your personal brand and being able to stand out. So people like Sally Hogshead, people like good buddy of mine I was just talking to, Benjamin Hardy, right? He's one of my past clients. When him and Dan Sullivan relaunched Who Not How, we actually were running both their LinkedIn profiles to help them relaunch that book. So it's another amazing book. You asked about books that I love.
Yeah, go ahead.
Who Not How, especially the Benjamin Hardy version. I think it's amazing. And he's got a new book coming out too that everyone needs to check out. So, it's there's so many things. So that's where Humanize Your Brand. It was kind of my evolution, Jeremy, because I wrote my original book, Balance is Bullshit. It was all about, as you mentioned before, someone that had run multiple companies. And when I realized that I was not happy just being successful, AKA monetarily successful, and I actually didn't have the full success of having a full life, I reset. I blew up my companies. I got divorced and I reset. And that book is all about the things that we're taught, especially as men, that we're not supposed to share, the mistakes that we made as entrepreneurs, right? The things that we can't tell the world, or they're going to think of us wrong, right? Like it was my real and raw of who I was. And so like I wrote that book after my divorce and to say, hey, this is where I was and why I wanted to be able to make the shift of who I have become and how I was able to do that. And then now I'm working on 2.0 as well to be able to kind of update it and be able to, share where I'm at now and what I see in the world today.
What's a favorite story from Humanize, from the book?
You know, there's a lot of different things that I kind of look at. One of my biggest things is it actually kind of ties back in my book, right? Like I think that when I finally, my original book, Balance is Bullshit, and I have a story from it why I wrote that book, right? And because I think we've got to be able to go in, my story being able to go in and talk about one of my biggest mistakes, aka mistakes that I ever made, being in Vegas and making a $1.3 million bet that almost cost me $10 million and closed all my
Holy
companies.
cow. A
Yeah.
$1.3 million bet.
Well, the $1.3 million bet was on some source code. A buddy of mine had just sold for $25 million. And now it was like, oh, I'm building my own platform. I'll just buy your source code for 1.3 and then I can skip the line. Do your due diligence. Right. And I didn't. And it almost cost me my entire company and a massive amount of revenue over the next year. But those are things I didn't want to tell anyone. I didn't want anyone to know that I made those kind of mistakes. When I started sharing the real things that I went through, not only in business, but in life, from my divorce to what's going on with my kids right now. My kids, there's a huge issue in the world around mental health, especially for children. And when I started sharing those things, it was amazing. Like, oh, Josh is a dad. Oh, Josh, me too. Right. Like, okay, cool. I get that. And I think this is the stories that I want everyone to understand. Same thing with Rachel, right? She talked about in there on how she worked with Microsoft, and then to go from Microsoft to Gartner, she used LinkedIn. The same stuff that we were doing before we were even working together, before we even like got married, right? We were still dating, and how she was able to use LinkedIn to build her personal brand by getting her the Microsoft podcast that she used to run for the partnership network, and then being able to leverage that and have real conversations through messaging people at Gartner to create that opportunity and get a job there. Like these are the things, because it's how do you actually show, like, I hate the word authenticity because I think that it's been overplayed by, again, marketers, but how do you show your truth? We are in a truth deficit right now. Not a truth deficit. Let me take that back, Jeremy. I think we're in a trust deficit. There's definitely an issue with truth, but I think we're in a trust deficit where we don't trust people because we don't believe the truth that they're telling. And I think that's what we need to be able to do. And that's what Humanize Your Brand is all about. How do you build trust in yourself so people want to work with you and choose to work with you rather than being sold into working with you?
Well, so I want to get into favorite books, but like when you say that trust deficit, it makes me, I don't know if I know you're a fan of comedy, but Sebastian Maniscalco has a funny skit, so people can check it out, where how people used to answer the door before and how they answer the door now. I won't do it justice by repeating it, but I don't know if you've seen that clip before.
I have, yeah.
It's hilarious. So that's like,
you think I answer my door? I look at my ring first. I'm like, who is it?
Oh, shut off all the lights. Everyone down.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, post-COVID, everything like that. Yeah. I mean, it's insane. So like, that's that whole piece. Like you want to be able to you want someone to be able to, you want to knock on someone's door. Guess what? Like, and I love how you brought that up, Jeremy. It's a perfect, so I've got this, what I say is, it's my door to the couch mentality, right? So instead of me knocking on the door going, hey, I'm Josh, I'm here to be able to sell you on LinkedIn and be able to go through, most days people are like, no, thank you. I'm busy. I'm on a call, whatever it is. You and I are sitting on a couch. How do we actually get to that couch? Because if you and I are sitting on a couch, we've got some kind of trust built together, some kind of commonality, some kind of relationship. And I can just be like, hey, Jeremy, man, look, I just picked up this new pen. You're going to take it from like, dude, tell me more. Why are you telling me about this pen? You're going to invite to learn more about me. And that's what we have to be able to do. And that's why platforms like LinkedIn can take you from the door to the couch. So I don't know, just that my ADHD kicked in real quick and I was like, ooh, fun story.
I love it.
Yeah.
But that is true. Like there was a video I was watching and I think this guy took people that sent him messages on social media. Yeah. And then he'd go up, he'd print it out. He went in a mall. Have you seen that video before? Where he goes up to someone and he's just reading messages that he got from someone, but it sounds ridiculous, right? Yeah. Like, because most of them, that's not what you would say to a human being when you're face to face with them. But it was hilarious.
It's the same thing with LinkedIn messaging, right? Like people don't write conversationally. That's the big thing. There's another piece that people can take away from you. Just what you're saying there. They write at people. And it's ridiculous. You would never say these things. You want to write conversationally. How would you actually speak? If you're going to write a message to send to someone on LinkedIn, or even how you're actually going to write your post, take out your phone, talk to text, right? Go in there, allow the however you speak to show up, because when they talk to you, they're going to be like, okay, now I get that person. And it's such a weird world and people don't get it.
So favorite books, marketing books, people can check out, standoutauthority.com. I'm sure the book will be on there whenever it's ready. What other books are your favorites, of all time?
I mean, I like this, The Singularity. That's a really good book. I'm trying to look. I've got stacks of books. I've got like whole books
Just
over
take
here.
take a look at some of your books there. That's cool. I'll mention a couple as you do that. But we mentioned Perry Marshall's
another good one.
Sales and Marketing.
We were just talking about him, and I've got it right in front of me.
Triggers, yeah, Joe Sugarman.
Y'all, I promise you that wasn't set up. But I mean, these are things that I want everyone to understand.
Adweek Copywriting Handbook, which the ultimate guide to writing powerful advertising marketing copy. That's one of my favorite copywriting books of all time. I mean, obviously people know like the Gary Halbert, the Boron Letters, and there's other amazing copywriting books, but for some reason that's my favorite.
And there's so many I could go into. I mean, like Who Not How changed the world for me. Because it just shifted, right? As entrepreneurs, we always try and figure out how to
Ben
do something.
Hardy, Dan Sullivan.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, it was one of those pieces that really shifted. I mean, look, I can go back to, The Art of War, right? Like there's so many different books that kind of go through that have been, that are prolific throughout time. And I think that's what people need to pay attention to is what guides you? What really sparks an emotional trigger within yourself when you read something? And so many people, when you talk about books, and I think this is the shift, right? People create content. We write a book to be able to actually really inspire something within someone. I think we write social media, most people do, because they think they have to. And now we just have more noise, and a world is filled with noise. And that's why you have to, if you have to write with intention, right? And so this is that whole piece. Don't just take up more space. Create a content that is polarizing. I want a book that's polarizing. The books that you talk about, they're polarizing because they actually go against what we think and actually push us to think differently. And I think those are the best books in the world. And that's where the best content in the world is, those ones that, look, people are going to love me or hate me. I need to be able to write content that actually resonates with people, that's not indifferent, because people are so scared in today's world to actually say something that might actually, not polarizing like in an evil way, polarizing in a good way, right? Like that attract your audience and actually push away the people that you don't align with.
Brian Kurtz, who I know you know.
Love Brian.
I was, speaking of Over Deliver, also one of my favorites. Check it out. But he had Ryan Levesque speak at one of his Titans online event, group events. And Ryan wrote Ask and Choose, Ryan Levesque. But he was talking about this, exactly what you're saying, about creating content, especially with AI. Like, okay, with my new AI tools, whatever, I can pump out like 100 posts a day. And then someone else is like, well, I could do 200. Well, I could do 500. I could do 1,000. And like, at what point does it stop? Right. And he was kind of preaching to what you're talking about, which is just write some stuff that's human. It doesn't need that. You don't need 1,000 to up the next person next to you doing the number of posts per day.
And that's exhausting. And I think this will resonate with everyone. I always kind of relate that to, maybe Friday nights, your Netflix and chill, like the wife and I, Rachel and I are sitting back, and I'll tell you right now, Jeremy, she'll kill me sometimes because of the fact that she's like, just pick a show, because we'll spend more time trying to figure out what we're going to watch across all these digital subscriptions that we have now. Because it's easier than
you're like, I have Hulu, I have HBO Max, I have Netflix, oh my God. I have Disney.
She's like, if you don't choose something, I swear to God, it's like, we got to be able to do, and that's the same thing with content, right? Like content's not king anymore, right? And that's the whole piece. Quality is queen. And that's what I want to see from everybody. There's so much content out there, you can't make a choice. I want the stuff that's going to slap me in the face of like, oh my God, that right there, I resonate with. So like realize people like content's, and like people are like, oh, content's king. Not anymore, not in the world of AI. There's too much of it, right? So stop creating so much content. LinkedIn, you know how many posts we do with our clients? 3 posts a week. Not like, X or Twitter or wherever you call it these days, 3 posts a day and all these other things, like 3 posts a week, because it has to breathe. I have content on LinkedIn, Jeremy, that still gets engagement today that I wrote articles 5 years ago. Show me another social media platform that you still get engagement from content that you wrote longer than 2 days ago. Only other platforms, Pinterest, YouTube. The 3 powerful platforms, Pinterest, YouTube, and LinkedIn, they are their own search engines. If you haven't talked to Alaric Heck, amazing human. Again, someone to follow on YouTube and what he does over there. Him and I are doing some fun stuff together too. But yeah, this is what I want people to pay attention to. If you write something that actually is going to stand the test of time, when we talk about books, 80-20 principle, being able to go into, who, not how, or the art of war, like these are books that stood the test of time. Can your content do the same? And if you write a piece of content that you care about, are you going to be okay if no one likes it? If you aren't, don't write it. If you're only writing it for the likes and shares and comments, then you're writing it for the wrong reasons.
Josh, I wanted to the first one to thank you. This has been fantastic. Everyone can check out standoutauthority.com to learn more and more episodes of the podcast. And we'll see everyone next time. Josh, thanks so much.
Bye.
What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sailing right now. I'm feeling like 100 grand.